Author Loretta Sage is renowned for penning epic tales with the fictional hero Dash. While working on her newest book, she visualizes Dash and herself in a perilous situation involving snakes and goons. She deletes it all after pointing out some flaws in it. She is under pressure from her publicist, Divine Joy Randolph, who is insisting on seeing the most recent draft of her book, as well as the death of her explorer husband from years earlier. Later on, encouraged by her publicist and social media manager, Loretta accepts an invitation to speak at an expo while wearing a purple sequin jumpsuit, Patty Harrison. When she finds out that Alan Capri-Sun, the Dash cover model, will also be there, she is reluctant to go. She continues regardless, and to rousing cheers from the audience, Alan enters the stage while donning a blonde wig. In the middle of the performance, a fan requests that Dash dip Loretta. She makes an effort to perform, but rips off Alan's blonde wig, cutting short the presentation. After receiving criticism from her publicist, Loretta decides to go outside rather than to the next interview she is scheduled for. After arguing with Alan, she leaves him. She requests a car and is then unexpectedly picked up in a black SUV while being surrounded by unidentified henchmen. Alan sees her driving off and makes unsuccessful attempts to catch up with them. Abigail Fairfax, an eccentric billionaire, approaches Loretta and tries to woo her with a selection of cheeses. He explains that an artifact suggests a mysterious treasure off of a small island, but warns that the treasure could be destroyed at any time by a nearby volcano. Loretta refuses to name her price when he asks her to. He then knocks her out after telling her that a plane is waiting for her. Alan feels guilty for what happened to Loretta as he returns to the hotel. He makes an effort to find her with the help of her publicist and social media manager. He eventually calls Jack Trainer, Brad Pitt, an old yoga partner who can help him find her using her smartwatch. He promises to have her back within 48 hours and tells Alan to meet him on the island. After waking up, Loretta is taken to a campground where Abigail has set up shop to conduct research on the location of the island's treasure. Loretta is restrained by him, and he orders her to report to work. Meanwhile, Alan arrives on the island in typical tourist fashion, meets Jack, and the two drive to Abigail's compound in a small car. After a brief nap, Abigail increases the pressure on Loretta to translate the small piece he has discovered that alluded to the treasure. He wants her to translate it again even though she already has. Trainer sends off a number of his soldiers in the meantime, and Alan, who got locked out of the car he was supposed to stay in, acts as Trainer's ineffective backup, occasionally slapping a few of Trainer's goons. They eventually find Loretta but are unable to free her from the chair due to the ties. As explosions happen, they eventually carry her, chair and all, out of the building. They return to the car, but Jack is shot in the head, spilling his brains all over Alan's face, stopping them in their tracks. Loretta remains seated in the chair as they eventually load it into the car and drive away. Because Loretta left the only piece of the puzzle behind, Abigail is enraged and demands her return. After a quick escape, Loretta had fallen out of the car. Alan and Loretta pull over. Alan manages to free her from the chair, but when they get back to the car, it slides off the edge of the cliff and they are unable to call for help. The phone is destroyed when they finally reach the car, and Alan advises that they travel through the jungle to the airport in order to contact the authorities. The forces of Abigail are still closing in. Alan is covered in leeches after a brief trip to a small pound, especially on his butt. Loretta picks them off before eventually arriving at a waterfall. At this point, Loretta deciphers the remainder of the enigmatic puzzle he was attempting to solve using the clue she stole from Abigail, revealing that the treasure is concealed somewhere with endless tiers. The two then find themselves on the verge of being apprehended by Abigail's goons and must flee by scaling a mountain. Alan pushes Loretta while placing his head between her legs as he tries to assist her. They succeed in reaching the top eventually. The two make camp, sharing their adventure while eventually nodding off in a relatively small hammock. In the meantime, Abigail orders a group of 3 motorcycle-riding thugs to join the chase. The next morning, Loretta finally tells Alan the truth about how she feels about him, saying that he is nothing more than a cover model vying for attention. In fact, Alan says he is proud to be Dash because it makes the fans happy and that he is from a family. He mocks Loretta for not making an effort to appease the crowd. Once more on the move, the pair eventually arrives in a small village. The two clean up, then begin to mingle with the villagers after speaking with the local police about protection. The publicist has been pursuing Loretta throughout this time in an effort to win her back. She rides a tiny charter to a small airport, where she is eventually informed that there is no ride available. She runs into Oscar Nunez, and his goat there, who are happy to transport her there. When she finally arrives at a small police station, they inform her that they are closed. Finally, she persuades them to lend a hand. After a brief dance, prompted by a local woman, Loretta gains insight from her about the location of the Pool of Endless Tears and asks Alan to join her in the search for the hidden treasure. She persuades him, excited to rediscover her sense of adventure, and he leaves to get some supplies. She eventually runs into Abigail, who captures her and starts to drive away. Alan rides a little motorcycle behind. After a brief chase, Loretta sets the car on fire inside as Alan engages the thugs on top, poorly. The two are eventually captured and brought to the island, where Abigail is determined to find the treasure. They enter, and one of his thugs mocks Loretta before falling off a cliffside. A tomb is waiting inside after they squeeze through a tiny tunnel. The treasure is revealed to be nothing more than a collection of seashells, a gift from a man to his beloved, after a crypt has been forcibly opened. Angry that they haven't discovered anything. As the volcano starts to erupt, Loretta and Alan are captured by Abigail inside a tomb, but not before his henchman leaves them a crowbar. Alan uses the crowbar to free the pair after they have briefly discussed their adventure. After his henchman steals the boat, Abigail is met by the publicist and the police, where he poses as an innocent victim. After numerous explosions, Loretta and Alan just about make it out of the tomb, only to be found by the publicist. He tries to flee after telling the truth about Abigail but is stopped by Oscar, who claims to be looking out for the publicist. While recovering on a nearby rock, Loretta and Alan recreate the book cover for her subsequent work, which is released months later. After the book's release, the publicist, the social media manager, and Oscar are lounging on an island. Loretta and Alan are nearby, chatting about the friendship they'd developed during their adventure. They kiss after having a brief strange conversation. During the middle of the credits, Loretta and Alan can be seen practicing some peaceful yoga. Jack Trainer comes back in this location. He can't help but give them strange looks as they return to their relaxation because they are still in shock that he is still alive.